my home country of Jamaica, and really excited to have you all here as we kick off Caribbean Travel Marketplace with our first installment, which is our third Caribbean Travel Forum. I'd just like to say welcome to a few special persons who are with us today. Our Honourable Minister Edmund Bartlett, who will be joining us shortly. We also have representing the Ministry of Tourism from the Bahamas, Honourable Chester Cooper, our Deputy Prime Minister, Commissioner Joseph Busruti from the Department of Tourism from the US VI, Honourable Hayden Hughes, Minister of Infrastructure, Communications, Utility and Housing and Willow, Honourable Ian Gooding-Edgehill, Minister of Tourism and International Transport for Barbados, Honourable Kenneth Bryan, Minister of Tourism and Ports, and our CTO Chairman from the Cayman Islands, Honourable Josephine Connolly, Minister of Tourism, Environment, Fisheries and Marine Affairs, Culture and Heritage, Agriculture, Religious Affairs for the Turks and Caicos Islands. Please give them a round of applause. We also have some very distinguished panelists who will be joining us today, and I'd just also like to thank the members of the international media who are here with us. We have quite a diverse set of media covering. I think we have about 50 journalists, local, regional, international media who are covering this event, and we just like to thank them for being here with us, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to start by kicking off a little bit on the state of Caribbean tourism. A topic that I love to talk about, and I really love to talk about it only because we're doing such a wonderful, amazing job. And why are we doing that? Because we have an amazing group of people, both in the public and private sector, who work with passion, dedication, and energy to keep Caribbean tourism alive. And I'm going to take you through some interesting data as we go through the day, and we'll intersperse that with some interesting stories. So let's get started. I know we're a bit behind. We had, as explained, a little bit of an accident this morning, and we wanted to give people time to get here. Okay, yeah, that's me. So CHTA represents 33 Caribbean destinations, and we have been looking at tourism from the point of view as its contribution to GDP. As you can see from 2019, based on the global index, for the Caribbean our GDP contribution was 13.7%, and that's projected to go as far as 14.2% in 2032. In terms of jobs, the Caribbean's dependency for jobs in tourism is 15.6% in 2019 of total jobs, and is projected to go up to 17.7% by 2032. In 2023, we were at 15.2%. So that means we employ a hell of a lot of people, excuse my French. So let me move from that for a little bit. Give me the mic, I said. So let's look at 2023 performance at a glance. And with our partner organization, CTO, they have given us some really nice figures where we see that in the first Q1 and Q2 of 2023, we were still in recovery mode. See a lot of reds there. We weren't quite back to the level we needed to be. But when you see Q3 and Q4, tourism arrivals increased more rapidly, and that was really good in terms of our overall growth. And we moved ahead in terms of what we were performing in 2019. And this is for the destinations that report through CTO. If you look at the breakdown, the destinations that were really commanding market share is Dominican Republic at 25%, as well as Puerto Rico at 12% and Cuba at 8%. So some of our larger destinations, with obvious, with a more room count, were commanding a lot of the traffic into the Caribbean. But that doesn't mean the rest of the destinations weren't performing. They were also performing well. If we break it down in terms of the different areas, in terms of the Dutch Caribbean, the French Caribbean, or US territories, and OECS countries, you can see pretty much everybody was in double-digit growth. We had a little bit of a decline from the French Caribbean, and generally the US territories were in single-digit growth, but generally speaking, growth overall. We also experienced the largest increase in tourist arrivals from Canada over 2022, and we also received a little bit of a decrease from the origin market of Germany. But again, overall, really strong numbers for the Caribbean. And ladies and gentlemen, this is something we need to take an applause for, because this was not easy to do. As we go into it a little bit more, we can see some of the best performing destinations for Caribbean arrivals. Curacao in double-digit growth, Dom Rep, the US Virgin Islands, Martinique, Turks and Caicos, Aruba, Guadeloupe, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, and the entire Caribbean. When we look at a little bit more than the CTO figures, which you saw, 0.8, but this takes in a little bit more of the destinations within the region, so we're looking at an overall 3% growth. And that, again, is phenomenal. When we think about the fact that at the beginning of the pandemic, the Caribbean being the most tourism-dependent region in the world, it was basically said that we'd be the last to come out of COVID, we would have the most difficulties, and probably would take us to 2025, 2026 before we would recover. Well, we proved them wrong, didn't we? Yes, we did. And we have recovered, but we have not only recovered, we have grown. Tourism arrivals across destinations. Of the 25 destinations surveyed, 24 experienced growth, ranging from 6% in St. Martin to 85% in Montserrat, and the US Virgin Islands had a slight increase. So where are we now in 2024? Everybody has been saying that it was revenge travel, it was a fluke. 2023 really was something we should bank on, because in truth, once Europe opened up, once Asia opened up, once the rest of the world opened up, the Caribbean would probably lose that share that it got. And guess what we said again? No, we're going to prove you wrong. So, what are we performing? We are seeing, this is the last set of figures for 2023 where we were up. International inbound was still down by 25%, Europe by 22%, Africa and Middle East 12%, Asia Pacific 41%, the Americas in general at 14%, and the Caribbean, as I said, up 3%. So let me look at our 2024 position, Q1. Isn't it looking rosy? Yes. So we are seeing for Q1 international arrivals from global regions versus the same period last year. We are up 10%, but it's a little bit slow in terms of the rest of the Americas. They're catching up to us because they are up 13%. In the Americas, the rest of the Americas up 15%, Africa and the Middle East now up 8%, Europe up 10%, and Asia Pacific up 46%. And overall global international arrivals up 19%. So we have managed to maintain our share. We have managed, in everyone else coming back into the market, the Caribbean has managed to hold on to its share. And that's something we have to ensure that we do. This is not something we can shy away from. The WTCC study that we did showed that the Caribbean had a potential to double its GDP growth, and by 2032 to have an additional 1.34 billion jobs. And with that forecast expected, we have to continue to work hard to ensure that we can hit those numbers and do it in a sustainable way. Let's go. All right, so just recapping what I just showed you, you can see where we were in 2019, and then the variance for 2023 for Q1. When we look at Q1, we also see again versus 2023 some of the destinations that are performing with double-digit growth. Puerto Rico, Dom Rep, Cancun, Bahamas, and Jamaica have single-digit growth, but again, doing very well. And we are seeing that these top-tier destinations continue to perform above expectations. When we look at the mid-tier destinations, which is key for our overall growth, we are also seeing very strong numbers. We have their double-digit growth for Belize, Curacao, Aruba, St. Martin, Grenada, US Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, Barbados, the Cayman Islands, St. Lucia, Guyana, Antigua and Barbuda, Trinidad, Cuba, and Martinique are in single-digit, flat for Bermuda, and slightly down for Guadeloupe. So overall, again, a significantly healthy picture. Yes, that is When we go in a little bit deeper in terms of specific types of performance for these destinations, we looked at, through our data partner Forward Keys, we looked at our top-performing family destinations, our top-performing business destinations, and our top-performing premium class. And as you can see, we have Curacao doing very well in terms of the family. This is in the mid-tier destinations. Second place goes to Belize and third to Aruba. In the business destinations, we have the US Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands and the Dominican Republic. And for premium class, Turks and Caicos leads, Cayman coming in second, and the US Virgin Islands. So again, there seems to be a bit of a competition around some destinations here. We have some ministers of tourism in the room. But we like to say it's not about what? Competition. My minister of Barnett was there. He has coined this phrase. It's about what again?
Competition.
What again?
Competition.
You all have been schooled. Yes, competition. So we are one Caribbean. We are definitely trying not to compete against each other, but to support each other and move forward as a destination, as a region, to really command our own market share, to not fight each other, but to really grow the region in general. And that's really what the focus is with CHTA and the focus of each and every one of you here in this room. When we look at our premium class travel, it shows significant growth over the standard class. Again, we see Turks and Caicos up 73%, Cayman up 68%, and the US Virgin Islands up 57%. So quite a bit of growth you're seeing there. And it's important because sometimes we think about the Caribbean region and sometimes you hear, well, it's an all-inclusive destination, and we've recognized that the all-inclusive premium segment has grown quite significantly, has also the luxury EP segment. And that means that we continue to diversify our accommodation choices as well as growing more the mass market. So the Caribbean is doing something very unique in terms of looking at its 3, 4, and 5-star products and ensuring that we have balance throughout the region. So that's something that can basically make the Caribbean attractive to pretty much anyone in the market. All right. So what about airlift? Increased North American connectivity has also helped to fuel our growth. We are a set of islands, so you definitely cannot swim to us. And so airlift is critical to our growth. And we have been working with our airline partners to ensure that we have adequate lift. This is not seamless through all the areas within the Caribbean. There are some destinations that are still struggling with airlift and wanting to see additional airlift coming. But definitely we are seeing from our source markets that we are seeing growth in international airlift generally to the region. And in all cases, we have double-digit growth from these feeder markets. So, as we know, the US market in particular represents over 60% of the arrivals into the Caribbean, and so it's our main source market, and then that's followed by Canada, the UK, Europe, and then LATAM and the Caribbean region in about itself, where we anticipate that we have opportunity for growth. When we look at the top performing US hubs, these are very important to us, both for the Canadian travel as well as the US market. We are seeing Charlotte is up over 2023 by 23%, Dallas hub up 19%, Miami 18%, and Atlanta 12%. So that means we have to pay more attention to behind the gateway in terms of who is feeding these various hubs, the linkages between various airlines and ensuring that there is adequate code share and other things that allow us to be able to grow our market, not necessarily always direct flights, but ensuring that we can pull people through the hubs and bring business into the Caribbean. So this is an important factor for us. Let's look at Europe for a minute. We're seeing that for Q1, European demand has slowed somewhat. Italy and Austria are still up in terms of positive numbers. UK overall slightly down for the Caribbean. Spain, France, the Netherlands, and Germany, again, not double digit, but somewhat down. And total Europe down 5%. So as a region, we have to pay attention to the European market a little bit more, particularly these destinations, source markets, and see why we are losing some of the business there. We have time to make it up. It may simply be that there are other factors that are not something we can control. We do have a couple of wars raging in that side of the world, which may be impacting on people's propensity to travel. But it's something that we just should pay attention to and see if we need to go out to people to understand what's happening there. Latin America. We are seeing continued growth from the Latin American market, but as we all know, we only get a drop in the bucket from this market in terms of its potential. And we do have media here from Latam. Where are they? Put up your hands, please, if they're in the room. Media from Latin America? Yes? Give them a round of applause. So we are hoping they will carry the message that, bienvenida a Jamaica, bienvenida al Caribbean, that we'll see more of you coming to this side of the world. So thank you. All right, so we're seeing Colombia. I was speaking to someone earlier about the Colombian market and the fact that we are they're seeing definite increase in interest for the Caribbean from Colombia. And we are seeing a 20% increase, but again, these are nominal figures. Considering the size and the potential of the Latin American market, we are really just scratching the surface. Brazil up 12%, Argentina 9%, Chile 7%, Uruguay 3%, and slightly down in Peru. So again, overall Latin America up 10%, but again, baby steps for us. We have a lot more potential for this market. It's something that we all have to focus on and figure out a way to get more direct lift or to go through our hubs. Panama, for example, is one of our big hubs, and ensuring that we can grow this market. So again, something to pay attention to. If we are to achieve the numbers that I spoke about earlier by 2032, we cannot just focus on the US market, even though it's our main market and doing well. We have to go beyond our traditional markets, US, Canada, and UK, and really start to spend energy and money and brain power, and some of that we'll discuss today at this conference, to reach into new markets and to really penetrate the Latin American market, which I think we have great synergies and we should continue to see that grow. Okay, Caribbean connectivity. This is a big one. We've all been talking about traveling within the Caribbean, what's happening for the last couple of years. Since I started in the Travel Forum, it was one of the big topics we started in Puerto Rico discussing, the lack of connectivity within the Caribbean, and what that does in terms of curtailing us from multi-destinational travel, for people to be able to move within the region. Good news is, we're seeing increased lift. We have some airline partners in the region that have really put up their money where their mouth is and have added lift between a lot of the destinations. I mean, for example, now we have direct lift between Jamaica, Barbados and St. Lucia, and we also have lift between Dominican Republic and Jamaica. And just to really highlight one of the first that we've had at Market Base this year, we had our first ever multi-destinational fam trip, which is, we have to give a round of applause. That fam, we took media from St. Lucia. They stopped for a layover in Barbados of around 6 hours, and I hear they had a fantastic time. So it's again telling you what visitors can do in and of themselves. Then they came up into Caribbean, into Jamaica. They're here with us. Then they're going to have a great time in Jamaica and then head to the beautiful destination of Cayman. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank all our partners who have made this possible, and the media. We're around 3 media who are on the international, the multimedia fam. Let's see them if you could stand, please. We have 1 hand up, 2 hands. So they are here and having a great time. So multi-destinational travel is very important for us. We have to keep working at this. The CHTA plans to look at doing additional fam trips to expose how easy it is for you to plan and to travel between the Caribbean islands, and really emphasize that visiting the Caribbean is not just about saying, I went to the Caribbean, I've been to one destination, I know the Caribbean. I've said it so many times, those of you who've heard me speak before, you haven't really experienced the Caribbean until you've probably gone to about how many destinations? Guys, let me down, they didn't give you coffee this morning. At least 5, 6, 7, or 8. And as I said, on my bucket list is to try and visit every destination in the Caribbean to ensure that you have that diversity of experience. Each one is different in its music, in its culture, its topography, its natural beauty, the people. I mean, every time I visit a different Caribbean destination, as a Caribbean national, I'm surprised at sometimes of the differences and how unique they are. So just something to think about when you are planning your own trips, when you are talking about the Caribbean, that it's not just about one destination. Yes, we are one Caribbean, but we have many different experiences to enjoy. And with the airlift that we are having now, we will continue to grow that out. So what about the hotels? How are they doing? We are seeing that occupancy has gone up from 2019. We are above occupancy for 2019, just hovering on the 70% average occupancy across the region, which is very good. And in terms of this year, that's March 2024 versus 2023, we're seeing that we are again slightly above our 2023 performance. So again, doing well, 74.3%. So our hotels are seeing strong occupancy, but are they seeing good ADR? The hoteliers in the room, yes? Good ADR? I think so. In terms of our top lodging performance and occupancy, there's 3 Caribbean destinations in March that were really showcasing last year. Jamaica, St. Lucia, and Bahamas were the top 3. We have a little bit of a switch up this year. It's Turks and Caicos, St. Lucia, and Aruba. St. Lucia held its position. Go St. Lucia.